What if astronauts visited the moon and reported seeing unexplained objects? The moon later diverted from its orbit, descending directly to Earth. Welcome to What a Story. At a satellite repair facility, a team of astronauts under the direction of Commander Jocinda are performing maintenance. Astronaut Brian Harper discovers an odd swarm of nanotech beings approaching them. Brian tries to help his friend Alan, but the swarm knocks him out. Brian arrives at Joe's ship and successfully flies them back to Earth. 18 months later, after his allegations of the swarm attacking them were dismissed as outlandish, Brian was demoted by NASA.
I lost my friend.
His relationship with Joe deteriorates, and he ends up divorcing his wife, Brenda. She moves to Jersey with their son Sonny, and Sonny becomes distant from his father. Megastructurist KC breaks into the University of California secretly 10 years later to collect data on strange moon activity. When he arrives at his regular employment at a fast food restaurant, he receives confirmation of the odd readings he had previously received about the moon's orbital course. Later, KC visits his mother, Elaine, who is an Alzheimer's patient. Joe is still employed by NASA, but she and her ex-husband, General Douglas, are now separated. Jimmy, their kid, is shared by them, and Joe also homes Michelle, a foreign exchange student who also looks after Jimmy. Joe learns about the weird moon activity at work.
Well, that's not possible.
KC poses as Brian because he was asked to speak at a museum field trip for the class. When Brian finally arrives, KC makes an attempt to offer his readings and information about the moon approaching Earth. Brian rejects him and has security remove KC, but not before KC has thrown his material for Brian to read. When Brenda remarried Tom, they had 2 kids. Brenda contacts Brian as a result of seeing Sonny being pursued by the police on the news. After being detained, Brian tries to attend Sonny's bail hearing, but due to Brian's interruptions, the court postpones the hearing for a week, keeping Sonny in custody for that time. Reports about the moon departing its orbit begin to circulate, as Brian tries to buy the judge's release for Sonny. In less than 3 weeks, the moon will begin to disintegrate, sending city-sized bits of debris across the planet. In order to investigate the incident on the moon, NASA arranges a shuttle launch with a crew of 3 astronauts. In a scene that is shown back at NASA, the swarm attacks the astronauts as they are in the shuttle, surrounds the vehicle, and then sneaks inside to murder them. There is widespread rioting and looting as panic spreads across the Earth. Brian finds KC in a hotel, lecturing a group of people about moonfall. Soon, a tsunami hits California, wherein Brian has to help KC when he gets swept up by the water. Joe looks at the shuttle footage, and notices a hole carved into the crater floor. She then searches through the ancient NASA archives, and discovers helmet cam film from Brian's suit during the first unsuccessful trip. She is discovered by a man named Holden Field, a worker at the archives who claims that NASA is hiding information concerning the 1969 lunar landing. Joe tries to assemble a crew for a second expedition.
Dude, by -4.5.
Yeah.
We need you to come with us.
And is introduced to KC and Brian. Brian is still upset with Joe since he feels like she threw him under the bus after their previous mission.
We were both lied to.
They discover an EMP designed to destroy the swarm, and they take a shuttle out of a museum to attempt to send it into space. Before the objective is determined, Brian makes arrangements for Sonny to be freed from jail, so that he can visit Brenda and her family at Tom's cabin in Colorado. Jimmy and Michelle follow behind him as they travel there. Joe and Brian move swiftly to launch the mission, since they foresee another calamity, inviting KC to join them because he is more knowledgeable about megastructures than they are.
Suit up.
They all get on the shuttle as a massive ocean wave is moving toward the city due to a gravitational anomaly. Just as the water is about to touch them, the crew launches. While driving to Colorado, Sonny gets to know Michelle and Jimmy, and tells Doug that Jimmy is okay.
Hey, you guys okay?
Yeah.
On their way, they are robbed by a trio of thieves, and they are forced to walk.
Need another car, but I think I know where to get one.
People are pushed upward by another gravitational change, but Michelle clutches on to Jimmy. They eventually get to Tom's house.
Hey, I'm glad you're okay.
Meanwhile, Casey, Brian and Joe stop for some fuel. The trio arrives at the moon in orbit and discovers the swarm surrounding it. They set the bomb in a position where the swarm can grab it, but they see that it doesn't touch it. The swarm keeps attacking their shuttle until their electronics are taken out.
Come on, come on!
The crew discovers that the swarm is purposefully staying away from electronics. They enter the moon.
Holy shit!
The swarm attacks the ship.
I don't know! It's planets!
Joe thinks there are two distinct entities on the moon, and one of them is attempting trying to help them. Sonny, Michelle, and Jimmy join Tom and his family as they have to evacuate. Tom is getting oxygen tanks from the nearby fire station.
Oh, don't let us stop.
Sonny and Tom use their pistols to repel the previous robbers who attempt to steal them.
Where'd you get the gun?
The robbers try to run them off the road as they try to flee by chasing after them as they drive. Following this gravitational shift, brought on by the moon, pieces of the Earth's mass start to separate from the surface. After Sonny is able to drive off a ramp to safety, the remaining two robbers crash their car into a piece of mass while the leader of the criminals is crushed by rubble. In the meantime, the American president gives the go-ahead to launch nuclear weapons towards the moon in a desperate attempt to save everyone. As the air begins to get thin, Sonny, Tom, and the others put on oxygen masks and move to a cave for protection. Tom lends Nikki his oxygen tank when she runs out of it. He encourages her daughter to just keep going as he begins to gasp for air and pass out. The oxygen starts to return as Nikki finds her family, so Sonny and Michelle try to go look for Tom, but Sonny is knocked to the ground by a fallen tree, which pins him down. Harper discovers that humanity's earliest predecessors, who had more sophisticated technology than their modern descendants, built the megastructure. The moon was built as a space ark billions of years ago to repopulate humanity, who were being chased by a rogue artificial intelligence that grew too powerful. The swarm on the moon is one of those malicious AIs.
Wake up!
One final attempt is made by the trio on the moon to deliver the bomb to the swarm.
Holy shit.
Doug threatens his colleagues with a gun to stop them from destroying the moon, because he still has hope that Joe can save them.
God help us all.
I got a plan.
Brian tries to give himself up to stay behind and deliver the bomb as the group approaches it, but Casey steps in to take his place.
No, you open this door!
While he has the chance to finally do something in his life, he believes that Brian and Joe have families to return to. Brian and Joe wish him farewell as the swarm encircles Casey's pod and surrounds him before Casey explodes the bomb, destroying the swarm and returning the moon to its proper place. Brian and Joe can take a pod out because they are close enough to the planet. Brian and Joe succeed in getting back to their family. Sonny is also informed that KC has saved the planet. KC's consciousness gets uploaded to the base back on the moon. The operating system, which resembles his mother, introduces itself to him. KC is informed that a significant project is about to begin. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next story.